Hi guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a Divine Feminine read for you today, which has plenty of Divine Masculine information in it as well. I'm going to tell you about my sand art, and I'll do oracle cards at the end as I always do. Okay. I tried to tape this once already and ran out of space, so I had to kind of redo some things, but it's a beautiful day here today. Which is very welcome, since yesterday and the day before were a little bit darker energies. So hopefully I'll be able to get into some of that. I'm going to tell you my sand art first, with really nice messages. Okay. Today is October 12th, 2018, and I'll get into that information when I get into that read. So the sand art that I did from the past two nights, so the first one was on October 10th actually, right before midnight. It was 10:43. The information I just got was an army soldier with a helmet walking away as another man was down on a bunker next to him who had big shoulders, so representing a very good man, maybe a good friend of his. Also saw Atlantean timelines collapsing with two hourglasses and two pyramids. The twins getting their wings, and two timelines of the two pyramids. So there's one with just two pyramids, and then another timeline with two pyramids alongside of a long mountain range. And then, excuse me just one sec. The second read last night was really beautiful. There were two divine, actually I'm going to show you a picture of just the first one, so you get an idea of what I'm talking about as I go through. Okay, so we have the bride and grooms again, and you see the grooms are represented by the spines with their backs turned, and then the two brides going down paths that basically look like they're going over a field or the plains. Okay, like a bridge to the Divine Masculine. So as this one goes on, there were two divine marriages across the plains. One on the right, one on the left. The left bride is a little clearer road with the left hand behind her back, while her Divine Masculine spine is a little spotty at the waist, mid-back, and mid-upper back. The right bride is checking out the left bride, and she may have a child with her. Her Divine Masculine spine is very clear, except for the mid-upper back, but her road is less clear. Their paths both are like a bridge across the plains, direct access way to the Divine Masculine solar plexus. Notice that the Divine Masculines are always represented by their spines, and their backs are turned to the Divine Feminine. The bride's energy, initially separate, now joins as they start down the aisle, both turned toward the left. Both Divine Masculines are the pyramids. They become the pyramids. And the Divine Feminines become the space held for him in the earth, below the farm fields and the mountain ranges. The emotions held in the Divine Masculine shoulders, so a lot of their emotions are being held in their shoulders, so they might feel pain there. The left Divine Masculine releases more emotions, with some between them, in order to learn to stand side by side with another Divine Masculine. So Divine Masculines may be reaching out to each other, while the Divine Feminine is detached from their emotions that they now must face before them as they look at each other, and then their wings come out, facing the left, as the Divine Feminine on the right shows more emotions and ruffled feathers, and the right one also has a slightly stronger grounding cord, immersing herself into the emotions and is taken over with emotions, while the left bride takes on less emotion, but it's more intensely focused around the root and lower back issues, whereas the right bride, taken over by emotions all over and biting others' heads off in order to get more emotion out of the left twin. So the right twin, who's very emotional, is biting off the head of the left twin to bring emotions out of her too. Like a tidal wave now on the left above her head. So now a twister of emotion comes up through the left bride. And then there's a blur of a vortex-like energy. Both feminines still grounded, but now both are merged into their Divine Masculines, as the Divine Masculines have connected shoulders between themselves to now carry all of the weight of their divine feminine's emotions. No spines needed. Okay? So it was showing the divine masculine and feminines merging together as one, including masculine to masculine and feminine to feminine. That now at the end, it was like the divine masculines, all with big, huge shoulders, with all of the emotions calmly set upon the top of their shoulders, taking on their divine feminine's emotions. Now him taking on the weight of the world. So it was very beautiful. And I'm going to get into... So I have two readings for you, one from yesterday and one from today for the Divine Feminine. But I did want to bring up some of the dark energies that were coming up yesterday and the day before, and even a little bit into this morning. I actually feel better now, but some dark energies came up in when I was waking up yesterday morning. I was talking to some guy I didn't know who was very nice, and for some reason and he seemed like someone I would have worked with in the past, but I didn't know this person. And I was telling him about my fear about going into the deep ocean water. You know, like if you're out jet skiing, I always get this intense fear going out into the really deep, dark water. And also I've felt that before. And I was wondering to myself, well, in order to face this fear, am I supposed to go scuba diving or something, or, you know, do a deep sea dive with the sharks or something like that in order to get over that fear? And then I realized that it's more about the deep oceans of yourself, your emotions, and the deep, dark wounds that we really are getting into right now. You know, as we're the onion layers, and we've peeled off a lot of the onion layers, but now we're getting down to the core wounds, okay, which are very deep and dark. And it brings up those feelings of the deep ocean, being in the deep ocean water, in the darkness, in the cold, freezing water with no sleep. So think about, you know, in all of us experiences, I know that I jumped ship with my son in a past life, but that feeling of drowning in the deep ocean water in the middle of nowhere, you know, the fear that you might get eaten by a shark, the fear that no one's going to come get you, you're alone, you're abandoned, okay, you're in the deep, deep, dark water, it's nighttime, and it could be windy, and there could be a storm, and there could be huge waves, and you're stuck there, and if you fall asleep, you're going to drown, but you're freezing, and it's dark, and it's cold, and you're alone, and you haven't slept. And isn't that the worst possible feeling you can even imagine? So I want you to go into that and feel what it brings up for you. And, you know, this brings up all the rejection and the abandonment and the injustice. It brings up all of the wounds, the deepest, darkest wounds. And why has everyone left you? We're at the Jesus on the cross moment. Why have they all abandoned me? Why have they left me alone and Spirit's connecting with me? So this comes up again in the reads, but you might feel as a twin not only abandoned by family and friends, but by other twins as well. And there's a reason for this, because you need to learn to stand on your own. Because when you come into conflict situations, you need to be strong enough to know what your knowing is and who you are, and be very strong in that and your connection with your higher self. So when you get sad and you disconnect from your higher self, you know to go back to connecting right away, to bring your vibration back up. But not to get on your case about having felt. You needed to go through that. If you block those wounds, you're not going to be clearing, you're not going to be pushing yourself to a higher vibration overall. So it's good to go through those things. So allow the fears and the wounds to come up, and face them. It's about facing them, you know, and then letting them go. So if they're stuck in your subconscious where you didn't even know they were there, it's about going into yourself to see them, to see what's in there, allow it to come up to your consciousness, and from your consciousness, then you can release it. You can't release it from a subconscious because you're not aware of it. So that's all we're really doing. And things come up naturally. You don't have to fight to do this. All right? It will come up naturally, just like you were guided to being a twin flame and meeting your twin. You will be guided. So never get down on yourself. And I feel those feelings too, like that. You know, maybe you don't feel like your abilities are as strong as others, or you don't feel like you're keeping up with others who may be more in their knowing than you. Don't compare yourself to others, okay? Your path, everyone's path is different, and you're always guided according to your path. I wanted to bring that up. yesterday, the read for the Divine Feminine had to do with reflection. The only major arcana had to do with reflection, which is the Hermit card in the Syrian Starseed deck. There were 3 wands, 4 swords, 2 pentacles, and 1 cup, which is very swordy, very much in your head, and a lot of wands, not necessarily a good combination. The court cards were the Page of Wands and the Queen of Swords, which could be the Queen of Swords as the Divine Feminine and the Page of Wands as the Divine Masculine, or it could be a friend, it could be mother, it could be children, however it fits your situation. The numbers that came up in the coding were 8, 88, 52, 95, 5, 22, and 3421. The codes for the Divine Feminine yesterday had everything to do with synchronicities and a new beginning. And are you following your synchronicities? Are you paying attention to your guides trying to guide you to your new beginning? Okay, because when we get disconnected, we're not. The message was all about 88, so the 2 twins at 0 point, seeking that circuit, the cord between you, that you are of Christ and of Christ consciousness and of God, your higher self. It's just you feel yourself disconnecting from that connection. So when you stay at 0 point, you keep your connection. So it's just focusing on that circuit between you and your twin and you and your higher self, okay? There's always that, the 8 that goes up to your higher self, right? And then you also have the infinity going out through your etheric cord to your twin. So it's really just about always seeking that circuit, okay, of higher self. That's your connection to God, because you need that your higher self is your twin, okay? So you can't go outside to seek your twin. You have to go inside to your higher self to connect with your twin. That is your twin. It's your higher self. It's God. It's the collective consciousness, okay? So this is all about this expansion of Christ consciousness. Okay, and expanding your heart. So I've had a lot of chest pain the past couple days, which could have related to that darkness, but it was very intense, chest pain constantly. So it's hard to stay in your high vibration when you're feeling intense chest pain. When I put the code in, and some of the headers that I got from the internet were Jenner.com, which had nothing to do with Bruce Jenner, which was my first thought when I brought it up. And it was just a quote saying, "A client has a privilege to refuse to disclose and to prevent any other person," I guess, from disclosing, but just left there. And this had to do with a suit of a medical student regarding Americans with disabilities and reasonable accommodations. A medical student, a first-year medical student, suing Creighton University, which was interesting. It was filed September 24th, 2009. Which I think that date came up recently. But also, again, the defendant, or the Department of Justice, had notified the defendant on 9/24 the next year, 2010. So it was significant, this date, September 24th. And then by December 1st, 2010, they met for settlement discussions. So there's something about December 1st, 2010 coming up here. Another headline was Reciprocity in Resistive Networks, and that had a date of 12/27/2017. So you might want to look back at 12/27/2017 to see what that might bring up for you. But reciprocity in resistive networks, it's just saying if you resist, you're going to get resistance back. And this has to do one-to-one, but also within networks, okay? And then, interesting enough for the codes, because none of the codes had anything specific to do with C. diff, but C. diff came up in the codes, which was interesting because I had C. diff as an infant, which I didn't even know till a couple of years ago. And I've had stomach issues my whole life. And I even remember I was really, really sick when I was about 6 years old, for about a week. They thought, they were really worried I might die because I was so sick. But they didn't know what it was from, even though I found a note of C. diff in my baby book, and that's how I found out that I had C. diff when I was a baby. But back then, they really didn't know much about C. diff, so I'm sure that didn't stay in my mother's mind at the time because no one really knew anything about C. diff. I don't think it was really more common until the 70s. So this is coming up for a reason. Maybe someone needs to know more about C. diff, or I don't know, you tell me in the comments. But symptomatic infection due to spore-forming bacterium C. diff. okay, which is Clostridium difficile, okay, and the symptoms include watery diarrhea, fever, nausea, abdominal pain, and dehydration, and it spreads from the bacterial spores in feces, but it's also very prevalent in dirt. So kids play in the dirt, they can get it. Okay, an example is, well, you know, different colitis, toxic megacolon, perforation of the colon, and sepsis are some of the complications of it. You can also have it colonized, so you can test positive but not actually have active C. diff. And when you look at it under a microscope, it looks like a drumstick, which I thought was interesting because in the world card, in the traditional deck, there's a naked woman floating around in the middle of the world with sticks in her hands, which look exactly like what this is described as, C. diff. And it's funny because when as a card reader, and I looked at that card and the sticks in her hands multiple times, wondering, I wonder what that's supposed to represent this time. And today those sticks, because the world card's definitely out there today, is representing C. diff as something very dark. And it's going to reference to something else in a moment, but I'll let you know that when it comes up. Also to know that C. diff is not killed by the alcohol hand-based cleaners or routine surface cleaning. You know, it doesn't die easily. I looked to see if there was any long-term effects information, because there's really not a lot of long-term effects of C. diff, but I felt it was important for me because, you know, it's more prevalent in older people, so that's why they don't do a lot of long-term studies about it. But if you're an infant who had C. diff, of course, yeah, I want to know what the long-term results are or effects. So what I did come up with was obviously IBS, you know, so irritable bowel syndrome, functional diarrhea, functional abdominal bloating, which I've had my whole life, functional constipation, and functional abdominal pain syndrome. And like I said, it's not really recognized till the 1970s, but I think I read something else that it was discovered in the 50s. So, you know, most cases come from the hospital, from the ICUs, from antibiotic use, actually, and you know, when you have some kind of immune system compromise, you know, obviously you're going to be more susceptible to this, or if you have multiple diseases, an NG tube or a nursing home, actually use of antacids as well. And it was funny because this article, this information, the author of the article, which I love, their last name was Chakra, C-H-A-K-R-A, 2012, comma, C-N-A-A-L, et al. So that was perfect. So if you want to look up that article, you can. So for the read for the Divine Feminine yesterday, it's all about reflection, that Hermit card, okay? After creatively frustrated and depressed, needing others to express feelings of passion, physical feelings, affection. There's a whistleblower news. Whistleblower news is out about a love offer. The Knight of Cups stepping into the coliseum, and then C. diff came up. Clostridium difficile. It was like, you know, the coliseum, it was paralleling it to C. diff as the bowels of hell, literally. All right, so and by the way, C. diff is gram-positive bacteria, if you're interested. The coliseum is an oval amphitheater in the center of Rome. The bowels of hell. The picture of the Colosseum that I saw immediately shows the cross running through the Colosseum. Okay, the cross. This is where we are. We're now in the energy of Jesus hanging on the cross. Why have they left me alone? And being released to the lions, basically, in the Colosseum, in the bowels of hell. For the Divine Feminine, Spirit's connecting with me, stepping out into the world and out of her 5D world, is like being released in the Colosseum with the lions and the bulls, while others sell tickets to see the show. Not enough balls to speak a little truth and offer love from the Divine Masculine, whilst the Divine Feminine steps into the lion's den, seemingly balanced when giving to others, but you know you're not always balanced. With nothing left to fight for, but still carrying burdens of the heartbreak and separation, the King of Wands continues to give to others, to stay balanced and not deal with his burdens, while the Hermit has light, but is in need of expressing their passions. And then the Wedding card comes up as the underlying energy, which has to do with the situation involving marriage. True love hovers over the Divine Feminine, while the Magician and Trophy Wife while Magician with Trophy Wife begins to see who she is. Feelings of disgust may be arising when he realizes that he is who he identifies with. As the Empress watches with scissors, magnet, and coin, and possibly a small dessert, an offer of love to a married man who gives to others but is alone with his feelings. And then the underlying energy of self-love comes up for both the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine. So then the Empress comes up, and this Empress could be a mother or karmic partner or sister or business partner, or it could be the Divine Feminine as well. But this Empress seems good. So I'm just prefacing this with that, but she may not be, okay? She may be good, but she may not be. So take it as it corresponds with your situation. The Empress pretends not to see the cheating, stealing, and scamming behind her back, as people are not getting along at work, or she is a third party through workplace holding back her passions. Others extremely imbalanced, but she is holding her own. And she could even be seen as a ringleader, which comes up later in the reading. The Divine Masculine's mother, it could be his mother or a mother-in-law or someone around him who's older. She may actually be the snake, or maybe the controlling person of the karmic snake, and her son, the Atlas, who can do no wrong, who carries the weight of the world upon his shoulder, right? She is the ringleader, screwing others and controlling their passions. Recently, the masked boy, the man of passion in isolation, other than giving it work, is holding back his passions due to a mother who's controlling. So again, this could be a mother, a mother-in-law, a mother figure, it could be the karmic who acts like his mother. She is telling him that the Queen of Cups reversed, who could be manipulative, but also just could be very over-emotional right now, messenger of truth, is trying to manipulate him for his family's money. Okay, so there may be lies being told about the Divine Feminine. The foundation has to do with the King of Swords reversed, being negative and very unhappy with family. Also the Divine Masculine or Divine Feminine just working a lot in ending a family cycle, so they don't have to deal with those feelings. Okay, so they're working to avoid the feelings. Centrally, the issue is the truth, and the fears of the deep ocean water is the fear of the deepest emotions that you may not be able to return from. So you fear going into emotions that you fear you might not be able to survive. After awakened and able to focus and unable to focus at work, ending the internal battle without closure, or needing closure, or complete surrender. The truth being silent and silenced while hung up on wounds of a third-party jealousy. The Divine Feminine is challenged by being left alone in the dark, cold, in frozen waters, with blocks of the dark, the moon, the dark moon, the emotional moon, governed by the King of Wands at night, offering opportunity to dig deeper into the enemy within. Okay, so your connection with your Divine Masculine may be murky right now because it's causing you to go deeper into yourself. Holding back energy of, or a new beginning with the King of Cups, which is unconditional love. Trying to wake up those who don't want to be bothered, when in actuality they feel alone and they're cheating themselves in separation. Now, in the Divine Feminine's head and heart, is the Queen of Swords, taking a leap to instability, not knowing where to take her passions, to find her sovereignty, even when she's depleted of strength, holding back passions during a detox. Okay, so she may be confused as to her direction. She pushes the Emperor, with his back turned to her, away as he focuses on possibly casual sex, passion. It could also be air sex with his divine feminine, the 5D. And jealousy, trying to get sex from a partner who ignores him, pretending to be happy dancing with her when he's actually avoiding through drinking and blocking his divine feminine, nightmare, who's been comforting him the whole time as he gives her light to the karmics who are gossiping about him and the twins. Soon, while new passion burning the past lovers, with nothing left to fight for, present to imprisonment of trying to work with someone who's weak, or possibly a Leo that the divine masculine has to work with. It could be the divine feminine as well. Or needing the courage to leave his work, the divine masculine or the divine feminine, and choose a path. Both twins are trying to choose a path when only seeing desert. So they're not seeing how to choose a path when they don't see any choice. But they know there's choices out there for them. They just don't, they're confused as to what path to take, what choice to make. And they're feeling trapped. The divine feminine is thinking or meditating about lovers not working, not moving forward, being stuck, stubborn still, but still knowing satisfaction and contentment. So how do I find this satisfaction even though I don't have everything I want? How can I find satisfaction with other things? And then children come up as affecting your love life, okay? And also the divine feminine's need to flirt and extend her light-hearted energy to others. Just be loving to everyone. And it includes being playful. Around the divine feminine, or seeing herself as such, rising above the heat to tango. So this is around the divine feminine, or other people seeing, how other people see her. Rising above the heat to do the dance, to tango, after no conflict and over-isolating in order to find love for self, but finding inner child still with negative self-talk that needs to be cleared. Clear blocks of keeping your eyes closed in order to protect your heart. Speak your truth about your secrets, and Spirit's connecting with me. Speak your truth about your secrets and your psychic abilities and fears that you are not enough, and that others are talking about you, or other overindulgences or addictions to pain and suffering, and protecting yourself instead of putting it out there. All right, and then synchronicities and new beginnings come up. Okay, so it's very important for the divine feminine to be following her synchronicities right now, because this is her guidance for her new beginning. After allowing others to control you, hurting yourself, wanting reunion, after moving to peace with kids and or twin, and getting over feelings of loss and sadness and possible nightmare, shock or surprise of a dream new life, longing for comfort of the Queen of Cups, twin, children could also be longing for their mother's arms. There's a coming together here, a surprise reunion requiring patience, a relinquishing of power and money and sovereignty, and a need to let go of the nightmare. So when you come together, you need to let go of these things. Remember, when you come together, not in a codependent way, but there is certain codependency here, when you come together. Maybe you need to allow someone else to control some of your life, okay? So letting go of these aspects, allowing your divine masculine to take care of you for a change. Allowing someone else to call the shots. Are you going to trust your masculine? Because if you don't allow him to do these things for you, you're not trusting him. He needs to feel trusted. You need to take a risk to receive only and allow someone else to call the shots. The hermit is at work thinking and rising above, inspired to the truth of loneliness of the twin flames in their knowing. Holding on to the truth of coming together takes a risk. Okay, so very much yesterday, I was still dealing with those feelings of isolation. It was kind of a feeling of being in a no man's land, not feeling like you're anywhere. Where do you belong? And realizing that you don't always allow yourself to be vulnerable to others. In my position, I don't like, when I'm feeling sad, I don't really like to call my twin flame friends because I don't want to put that sadness on them. They're already dealing with a lot of their own issues. But yet they come to me and allow me to help them when they're down. And so, and it's not like I don't ever reach out, I do. But yesterday was one of those moments where I did need to reach out and allow someone else to feel good about helping you. And just feeling, there's definitely that sadness and the anger that the right knee was coming up again today, that the Divine Feminine is still storing some anger and her masculine side. And this is going to come up as workplace issues for some. But to be allowed to release this, if you just want to yell into a pillow, that's fine. Or you can do it in physical ways by working out or hiking, that kind of thing. Or go finding someone to hug. And, don't take your anger out on someone, but allow it to come up and release it. Don't say I'm not angry when you haven't really looked within to see if there is anger there. And which is hard for me because I don't express anger, I express sadness. And of course with my kids there was an occasional explosion here or there from frustration, because it comes out as frustration. But even if I get frustrated and I get that angry, I end up crying because I don't like feeling anger. So it's about allowing yourself to feel that, to allow it to come up, to let it go. It's not to continue feeling that anymore. So, and it was nice, and I want to thank my friend, thank you for being there for me, and being a rock for me when I needed it. And also my twin came through her again yesterday, which doesn't happen very often, so it's always nice to connect. But knowing, a lot of the issues for the Divine Feminine are coming up is those physical issues of needing affection. Just wanting to hug their Divine Masculine. It has nothing to do with, with relations right now. It just has to do with affection and love and just being there for someone. Or in the Divine Masculine, allowing someone else to actually love them. So anyway, I ended up cleaning yesterday. I did my run, and I worked out, and I cleaned my bathrooms. So that was good therapy. I'm not an obsessive cleaner, so for me it's always a good thing if I get the bathrooms cleaned. But it helps, when you feel stuck, cleaning's good because it might pull up some stuff that's hanging around the house, some dark energies that will affect you. And so when you're cleaning them out, it may go through you and allow you to release some of those things. Okay, so and I wanted to bring up justice too, because justice has been a common theme in some of the reads this week. And if anyone wants me to do a video on disability, because I have been through the ringer with disability, I did have a back injury at work, which I still am rehabbing, but I had 3 years of intensive rehab in the beginning. And it is an unjust process, and I just want to preface this with, when you have disability insurance at work, it's not like having car or home insurance, where they're usually very helpful and happy to help you when you've been in an accident or you have something happen where you need their insurance to reimburse or replace whatever you need done. Disability insurance is not the same, because when you actually call on your disability insurance, they don't kindly give to you. They treat you like you have sued them and you are the enemy. This is their perspective. And it's not like the hospital's doing this to you. It's disability, the representative of the hospital. So it's not like the hospitals are filled with bad people. It's the administration, but then no one has to take responsibility, because this is, again, the establishment. There's no specific person, which also comes up in my reading today, to blame. No one takes responsibility. So if you want me to do a disability installment, I'd be happy to share my experience with you. So if that's an interest to you, please comment below. But otherwise, I'm just going to get into the read for today. Okay, so for the Divine Feminine today, and today is October 12, 2018. The 12 is the Hangman, so it's very much about seeing things from a different perspective, especially when you've been hanging around a lot, right? And you need a new perspective. How do you get out of that? It also adds up the day to 33-6, which is the Seven of Wands, and 33 is also the Christ vibration of the crucifixion. Okay? The Seven of Wands is about standing your ground, standing up for yourself, defending yourself to others. But do you really need to defend yourself? Or just stand your ground? Okay? I also want to bring up, because I'm not usually someone who has difficult time sleeping. I'm usually pretty much a rock. Even if I don't get enough sleep, I always sleep through the night without waking up and that kind of thing. But I was trying melatonin for a little bit to see if it would help, because I wasn't getting enough sleep, because I wasn't staying asleep long enough. And I feel like it just messed up my sleep more, so I stopped it again today. So I just want to let someone know in case they're curious as well, because I was always a really good sleeper, and this past couple weeks since I've been on the melatonin, I don't think my sleep has been actually as good. It's actually, I've been waking up and then not being able to go to sleep, which is not me at all. So I let go of it to see if I'd go back to, sleeping better. Seeing things from a different perspective, so changing something that you're taking to, see what might be affecting how you're thinking. So the major arcana for the Divine Feminine today, and again, the energies of the 12 is a 3. 3 is of a self-expression and coming together, and being exactly who you are, expressing yourself authentically. 33-6 is like I said, it's the Seven of Wands, but it's also the 6 of the motherly energy being expressed through the 3-3. Being seen exactly as you are, as that 3 of joy, of self-expression, of coming together. It can be of siblings as well, but it's all about self-expression. So the major arcana for the read today, which was done at 9:33 this morning, were abundance, karma, star, shadow, reflection, and the hanging man. So in the Syrian starseed deck, which I use as the main deck for the read, abundance is the Empress, karma is judgment, star, shadow is the devil, reflection is the hermit, and then hanging man is the hanged man. Okay? There was 1 cup, 3 pentacles, 1 sword, and no wands at all today for the Divine Feminine. And the only court card that came up is the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, I was just thinking about my shirt too. This is my dad's scrub shirt. I don't wear my scrub shirts at all, but this one is actually from Einstein, so I like that because it's Einstein and pi, which I talk about pi all the time. So the only court card, like I said, is the Queen of Pentacles. So someone who's very well-rounded and grounded, okay? Very loving, nurturing mother, likes to take care of the home, that kind of thing, but very well balanced financially as well. The numbers that came up were just 6 of love and 44, and that's the number of Atlas. It's also the 4 of Cups. That's about boredom and grounding and integrating, okay, and the reason for boredom. The other number that came up was 131. And so the coding had everything to do with forgiveness today. Love energy was coming up, and God, your connection with the source. Also shaman energy, as well as crystal energy, sage, clearing, or wise one energy, as well as a kiss and a hug was coming up, which is affection. In the hour where it's needed, you're going to need to forgive. All right, so either I was getting, it could be 60 shaman of energy, so maybe a group of shamans who are bringing their energies together to clear, clearing divine feminine source or Sophia energy, and coming back to 0 point and forgiving yourself, forgiving others, forgiving your masculine. Also, I was getting possibly just 6 of God or shaman. And shaman can just be divine masculine, it could be divine feminine. Okay, but this is the shaman of energy, using your shaman energies of love wisely to give affection at the hour it's needed, of forgiveness. Also, I was getting the collective consciousness of 9, the 9, Sophia 9, as God, shaman energy as well. So it's very much about the God feminine energy, the mother energy. The wise one gives kisses and hugs at the hour of manifesting forgiveness. Isn't that what the mother always does, you know, when the children have been bad? Does the mother ever deny them a hug if they come back to her? No. Can't say all mothers, but you know, the loving mother. Also has to do with stalling and people crying to get attention, and to be aware of that. And even when people are, you know, they're trying to get attention, and so crying for false reasons, you can still give affection and forgive. When I put the code in, some of the stuff that came up on the internet was that, number one, REE comes up as rare earth elements. Okay, so crystals. So not only shaman energy, because Re is an Indian, a shaman energy, but also of rare earth elements, using crystals to help yourself clear. Because the title was Rare Earth and Uranium Minerals Present as Daughter Crystals. And being that today is very much about mother energy, mothers and daughters is coming up here. And are your daughters your crystals, basically, your support, which they often are for mothers. Also came up with oxygen isotope, fractionated between calcite and fluid, and then it was just ... So I don't know if that's specific to someone, it doesn't mean much to me. But calcite and calcium comes up again. So then in the next code, and this was from link.springer.com, and no, it's not Jerry Springer. The heading was just 39, Springer link, rare earth element in CA(F).325 REE, calcium solid CREE, and it was talking about, it goes into IC, small c, capital J, solution 4.1 and 5, where DEFF are capital A are obtained from the slope to calculate the destruction of REE on co-precipitation in ... Anyway, it had to do with the fractionization of rare earth elements in fluorite. So fluorite came up before. Alright, so I guess it's in the calcium family, but fluorite is used as an indicator of the geochemical conditions of mineral formation. So there's a connection here, and I'm not a scientist, but this might be useful to a scientist. Okay, so again, the main thing of this message, and 39 comes up, and that comes up as important in the read as well, and 39 is the Knight of Cups, by the way. And it's the, it's the Knight of Cups. Fluorite is used as an indicator of the geochemical conditions of mineral formation. And it's also known, fluorite, as one of the stones you use to help your psychic abilities along. Okay, and the title of this article, if you're interested in reading it, since it was above most of that was above my head, the article title was Investigation of the Diadochic Incorporation of the REE in, I guess it's fluorite, CaF2, at an elevated temperature and pressure. So somebody was doing an experiment, but you can look that up if you want. Okay, so getting into the read for today, the Divine Feminine. All right, and we were just passing 4343, and 4343 is all about, it's the Three of Cups, you know, coming together. It's supposed to be coming together in joy, but you know that we don't always come together in joy. It can be people talking. It can be third-party emotional situations. It can be a lot of different things. Okay, it can be just hanging out with your kids. So, from the read today, it seems it starts with a detox in the underlying energy, from judgment of third party through work and not coming together with others at work, to open your heart more fully for the Divine Feminine, to abundance, blocking out the money aspect to see the Divine Feminine self more clearly out in the open. There may be a sudden epiphany that God or Source is in control of you sharing your light over other couples or partners coming together, soulmates and partnerships, that we really have little control. You know, we're just really the tools by which Source shares energy. Also, sudden events in marriages, and it could be sudden events in marriages. It can have to do with a hermit or someone who's isolated, who has light. It could be a Virgo person, it could be a doctor, it could be a pharmacist, a scientist, someone studying relationship between things. The divine feminine and the divine masculine parts coming together. That the feminine is creator, the birthing of co-creation, like the birth process. So it was showing me here, you know, the hierarchy of things. You know, you have Source energy, you know, God, being filtered down through the twins, coming down to highlight partnerships of the masculine and the feminine energy, how they fit perfectly together. So when you're making things, you know, they're always called masculine and feminine parts that fit perfectly together. And that's for a reason. And this has to do with masculine and feminine energy. It doesn't have to be a man and a woman per se, okay? It can be a woman, a man, man. But it has to do with the masculine and feminine energy. So a man, but in the birthing co-creation, obviously you need the man and the woman, okay? So, like the birthing process, a man and a woman connect, get excited, and then merge, you know, just like ions do, right, when you want to connect, in order to co-create a child. But it takes 9 months. 9 months, just 39 weeks. And I wanted to bring up the 39 because often they always tell you that the birth process is 10 months or 40 weeks. But I can tell you, I know when I conceived both of my children and when I birthed both of my children, and it's 39 weeks. And they were both actually born the day before the date that I conceived. Like, so for my son, I know I conceived, it was June 15th, and I mean, my daughter was conceived June 15th and was born on March 14th. And the same for my son, like he was conceived around the 30th of the month and was born on the 29th of the month, which is exactly 39 weeks. But I found it very interesting that even if it's not at that 39 weeks point, the 9 months, and 9 months is, you know, 3 quarters, which are each 13 weeks, the last month of the birth is 37 weeks, 38 weeks, 39 weeks, and 40 weeks. And what are they? The culmination of birth, when the babies are born, is even early. 37 weeks would be the King of Cups, which is really beautiful energy. 38 weeks is the Queen of Cups. 39 is the Knight of Cups. And then 40 is the Page of Cups, literally the new baby. Okay, so that's why they call it 40 weeks. So the Queen of Wands reversed is also out having tantrums. Or she could be pissed. No, actually, it's just her. She's either exhausted or having tantrums. But either way, if the Queen of Wands is exhausted, she's probably having tantrums anyway. The only option at the moment is to shine her light and heal, defending her territory to the mother lode of all soulmates, the twin flame. And then the deception card comes up as underlying energy for the divine feminine, you know, that someone's wearing a mask in this relationship. The King of Wands is out showing affection to his 5D world, no longer caring if it makes him look like a narcissist, getting caught with his pants down. Okay, so now the divine masculine, some of them are basically surrendering to their being a twin and their connection in the 5D with the divine feminine, and no longer caring. You know, like they're just tired of fighting it, and now they're not going to fight that anymore, even if it makes them look like a narcissist, because they're in a 3-way relationship. He knows who he is. Okay, and then new beginnings comes in also as underlying energy for the divine feminine. Getting out of her head, the divine feminine is finding her sovereignty, where heartbreak has led to her freedom, her faith, and not coming together at work, or leaving a job in order to find her true abundance, the energy of her heart, while defending her twin and their dreams and standing up for them. But remember, you don't really need to defend. You just need to be in your truth. Okay? There doesn't need to be any aggression. And it's beautiful out today, but it was really aggressively windy this morning. There are sudden breakdowns of establishment in the collective consciousness, and this sheds light on the couple, the partnership, true abundance in one-to-one connections. The establishment gains power because it, by nature, denies responsibility to the one. However, if we each take responsibility, and Spirit's connecting with me, if we each take responsibility for our own actions and feelings, tending to our own wounds, we create a vortex of unity, emanating higher vibrations of love, truth, peace, and joy. Recently, for the Divine Feminine, the shadow aspects have presented in disconnecting from the establishment, holding back feelings and passions, and dysfunctional family patterns that slow you down or block your good fortune. Just like when the pregnant woman must stop working to create something more important that takes precedence because it is of pure love. It is not easy nor comfortable the last few months, or all 9 months for some, or to push the baby out, but we choose to do it again because the birthing process is worth the love. No coincidence that Venus retro is called 40 days and 40 nights, and that 40 is the Page of Cups, the new life, the new love, the pure love. And then I go into the King of Cups, 37, 38, 39, and 40, all being Cups energy. Very beautiful Cups energy, all of the court cards. The foundation for the Divine Feminine is the star that shows us direction. Our guides and angels give us the opportunity to see the world as it truly is, in all its nakedness, Mother Earth, Mother Nature. The Mother nurtures and creates along with God. It is the feminine aspect of God. The Mother follows guidance to reflection and solace, and then one step further to connect with higher self in meditation. All right, so the Mother, or the Divine Feminine, follows her guidance to reflection in solace, but then takes it one step further to connect with her higher self in meditation. So the purpose for being alone. Centrally, the ripples of our dreams, our hope, our light extend to our twins and our children, so that the weak, the shy, the rejected, the naive can see some kind of light and find inner strength to be silent and kind and young and still show the strength of their love. All right, because it's like the page coming up reversed, helping the page reversed become the page again, that they're right, they're not wrong. The challenge of the Divine Feminine has to do with the place of co-creation, nobility, and quality of creation, without stressing from the boredom of their work, whistleblowers in lack, passionate exchange of emotionally detached manipulators, and patient angels who are saddened by what they see at work. Co-creation is joy, not work. There may also be a possible Leo stressing over maintaining the upper hand with all this passionate exchange about angels and twins. And I'm getting like this Leo does not like this. It could be a karmic who's seeing it but not liking it, you know. So now in the Divine Feminine's head and heart is affection for her twin and her children. The King of Wands is looking to leave a job or just dispose of superficialities at work due to people who are not on the same page at work or not getting along. Learning to love self and walking away and or going within, and or walking away from master manipulators who have gone bad. Walking away from conflict to become inspired again, to find his youthful spirit. The twins learn to be satisfied on their own without stressing or suffering, trying to wake up those who drink to escape and third-party twin flame situations. There may be someone, a karmic, trying to I was just getting this up, and this is random, so obviously it doesn't apply to most people. But I was getting some karmic trying to whip up a kissing spell in order to keep their divine masculine around. Also soon, I was getting the Queen of Pentacles here, feeling her energy and her finances slipping away. spending time, energy, and money to come together with others to find inspiration and or physical passion that's been lacking in their life. So coming together with groups, you know, some of the retreats have been together recently. It's that kind of energy. But the divine feminine still needs to release some anger, the right knee issues, the masculine part of the divine feminine, feeling stuck, and this all has to do with work. The divine feminine is, or is seeing herself as the hermit with the light, but she is alone after finding satisfaction, even when the divine masculine isn't talking to her, a prisoner of his wealth or status, or just being the man that everyone can depend on. So the divine masculine's in a Jesus complex, all right? But we all know what happens to Jesus, right? He may have been the man, but then he gets crucified. This is the template of Jesus playing out for the masculine and the divine feminine as Mary. True love comes up as the cards pulled for the divine feminine, that this is a romance of a lifetime. And wedding also comes up, and Spirit's connecting with me. Around her, the Queen of Cups hasn't been sharing or connecting one-on-one, which is extending the transformation process by resting and thinking too much. Clear blocks of hanging out to find a new perspective when you need to be physical and clear anger in your right knee. After taking a leap of faith in order to open your heart, but not following through with passion of love, needing clarity. So when you feel like you need clarity and you get stuck, you're not following through with your passions, go back to what you love to do and follow through with it. Forgiveness, like I said, is the main card that comes out as guidance for the divine feminine today, as well as domestic harmony, even more so important. So harmonizing within and your home. Okay, so cleaning comes up as part of harmonizing your home. The Emperor dreams about passionately rushing in, exposure of drinking and or controlling each other in a third-party jealousy situation where the worst is over because the secret is out with a sudden opportunity or invitation to the divine masculine's heart, or Batcave. An offer to look back with a passionate exchange, and then release news of magic and manifestation, messages from the magician. The Empress opens heart fully to dreams and healing, with the Hermit and meditation, to meditate on shadows and judgments about work and co-creation, as the Queen of Pentacles needs to release anger regarding the twin and children in order to connect with his heart and for a passionate exchange. So I was definitely getting this as a one-on-one physical connection, to talk or more, but it was the divine masculine opening his heart to the divine feminine. So it was really beautiful energy. I'm going to pull some cards for you now. Did I show you the read? I can't remember, because this is the second time I had to tape some of this. So okay, this is the read from today, and I'll start with the Ascension deck, as usual. Okay. Clear and align. Clear and align. Take a deep breath, please. What is the advice for the true twins? What is the advice this October 12th, 2018? Okay, we have the bottom of the deck is Pallas Athena, number 48. Okay, and the affirmation for Pallas Athena is, I use the sword of truth to lead the way. Speak your truth. And I actually texted that to my friend today. Speak your truth, man. Okay, the card that came up was the Sun, number 10. Okay, that's the Wheel of Fortune. It's the one, the masculine energy, and the God energy, the source energy, love energy. It's the 1010, the vibration, okay, the very high vibration, because you're staying close to 0 point. The Sun is the navel chakra, and chakra came up today as well. Sun is the navel chakra of this universe. It radiates the divine masculine principles onto us. Choosing this card suggests that the universe is calling on you to develop your qualities of decisive action, protecting the vulnerable, rational thinking, courage, and strength. Invoke the Sun in order to light up your aura and fill you with renewed enthusiasm for life. This energy will enable you to help everyone feel welcome and empowered, which is an important ascension quality. Your guidance is to fill your aura with brilliant golden light, be true to yourself, and act decisively today. Do what you love to do, and follow through. The affirmation is, I radiate golden light and decisive action today. Okay? So it's just about taking action on what you're inspired to take action on, with doing the things that you love to do. You don't have to do anything. You need to do what you love, what you're inspired to do. And when you're stuck, you can clean. All right, so past life deck. What is the advice for the true twins? Everybody take a breath. Okay, perfect. The bottom is forgiveness. All right, which came up as the main energy of the coding today, which is very pure, and spreading your wings. And actually this reminds me of the sand art, where they actually, their wings spread in the sand art. But really what stands out with forgiveness is purity. Purity of thought and action. And the card that came out is Mother. You know, and isn't Mother what we all grew up as our example of purity, right? Of love and purity and nurturing energy. So it's very much about affection as well. And being your mothering energy. You know, give some love and nurturing to someone else, whether it's your children or just a friend or family member or your divine masculine. Everybody needs some mothering now and then. But don't insinuate yourself upon anyone. You need, even when you deem it something as being good for everyone, you still can't, you know, push that on someone else. Someone else may not want a hug. It may make them uncomfortable. So you always ask before you do these things. It's always good to offer, but don't insinuate yourself. Don't be a space invader. Okay. Allow everyone to have their own space. Love like a mother and forgive. All right, so then the journey of love. Okay. Take a deep breath. Clear your mind. Okay. So for all the organic true twins, what is the advice for us? Here we go. All right. The bottom of the deck is Ethereal Touch, which is 27, which is the Ace of Wands, which is that new passionate energy. And what comes after the Page of Cups? The Ace of Wands. And that's about the 9, the compassion, the selflessness. It's the 7 of spirituality on the inside and the feminine energy on the outside. And it's also of endings. The card, though, that came out, just came out for us. All right, and we just talked about this, the crucifixion energy, the Christ flame. The 31, it's that 5 of Wands, that expansion, conflict energy. It's of Jesus being on the cross. And this picture represents that very well. You know, of the blood, the emotions raising up out of his body. And the green, this is very green. I don't know how well you can see the colors here, but it's very green on this side. And that orange is actually red. It's very red. There's a little bit of orange tinge in it, but it's mostly just that bright, you know, race car red. End of sadness. I'm going to read you that, the Christ flame, 31. All right, the Christ flame. Within you burns the flame of the Christ. Beyond religion, this flame belongs to all hearts willing to receive the divine, opening to it as a lover would open the heart to receive the beloved. Though the awakening of the Christ within brings greater closeness to the divine and therefore greater love and depth of compassion, it too can bring sadness, righteous anger, and a passionate need to contribute positive healing, action, and change in the world. You may be an introspective soul who does this through mastering your inner world with meditation and yoga, raising your own vibration with absolute intent that this bring healing to the world around you. You may be an extroverted soul that thrives in sharing messages and living a life of dynamic action in support of the causes that are worthy and moving to your brave heart, capable of feeling divine outrage and responding with inspired action. You may be a combination of these soul types, and choosing wisely what you consume, which companies you support, what television you do or do not watch, and what you read, voting for the life you want to have around you in the world through your actions, internal and external. This is the Christ flame igniting within you, setting the world aflame with the fire of divine love. This oracle brings guidance that you are connecting with the universal Christ consciousness, and your heart is meant to awaken as a sacred heart bearing the Christ flame of divine love this lifetime. You're part of the wave of awakening happening on the earth now. You're exactly where you're meant to be and doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. Keep going. And the poem reads, "Love is more than words can define. It is a feeling which wells up inside and longs for release. It is a smile which starts in my heart and spreads across my face like a silly grin. It's a knowing so deep in my being that every cell speaks in a language only lovers know. And most of all, it is the beginning, the birth, the possibility, the promise of a tomorrow, the hope that grows into something we can only imagine when hearts combine and love becomes more." Okay? So it's just about being love. Not just to your divine masculine or your divine feminine, but to everyone. And it brings up the birthing process as well. To allow the sadness and the joy. It's the awakening. You know, the time that Jesus spent on the cross. And I've said this before, but my message when I was in France, and we were at the Cathars Castle, and we were meditating at a picnic down below at the bottom when we finished at the castle, the message I got was a message from Jesus, which was really beautiful, that said, look to the sun and to the butterflies. And why would you keep your eyes closed when there's all of this to see? And this was, I didn't know till the next day, and Spirit's connecting with me, but I didn't know till the next day till I picked the crucifixion card out of the deck in the morning, because we'd go through like a little session in the morning and then we would travel each day. And I got the crucifixion. And I was like looking at everybody else's cards. I'm like, why do I have the crucifixion? Everyone has lovers, or, you know, the Two of Cups or something like that. And then I realized when we started talking about our session, I looked at the picture of the card of the crucifixion, and it was a tree-lined path with the sun bursting in between the trees. And it was me being told that the message that you were sent yesterday has to do with me on the cross. Right? So that was a very special message for me. I also, what did I want to bring up before I forget? Yeah, I might have forgotten to say something just because I had to re-record after starting this video, but there was a lot of dark energy the past couple days, and it's reflecting upon that the sadness needs to come up, so you unveil stuff that you've forgotten is in you and is still buried, and to allow it, and to look to the sun and the butterflies, and open your eyes and see the beauty before you. Okay? I'm going to leave you with that. Make sure you drink your water and get your rest. Have an amazing day. I hope it's sunny where you are. And even if it's not, that you can see the sun within. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.